from the Hamilton Spectator from the year 2000. This isn't Homer Simpson's bowling league. Something's wrong with this picture. It's the major bowling event. But as the guy wanders through the Sherwood Center up on the East Mountain, he can't smell a trace of tobacco. Nobody's sneaking a swig from a pocket flask, and the place sounds like a kid's hockey tournament. Cheers and chants and songs and high fives all around. Nothing's wrong with this picture, only with the person painting a different one in his mind. If anyone were to come here who wasn't a bowler, they'd be really amazed, said Sandy Lyons of Oakville, a member of the Ontario women's team at the Canadian Open 5-Pin Championship, which opened yesterday at Sherwood Center. What a lot of people think is they're Hicktown people coming in with their cigarettes and little Mickeys of booze. That might be a little true of some league bowling, but not at this level. Yes, lots of bowlers smoke, just like lots of pickup hockey players do, but they're not allowed to smoke in this alley at this event, the competitive pinnacle of the season. And true, most bowling alleys now have bars, just like most golf courses, most squash clubs, lots of hockey rinks, and all curling rinks. I think it has an unfair image, says Walter Heaney, technical director of the Ontario 5-Pin Bowling Association and a former bowling columnist for the Toronto Star. The image is that it is too blue-collar, and I think the biggest myth is that bowlers don't have any money. One of our bowlers who works for a major company thought he could get them to sponsor our seniors programs, but the company just said, "Bowling? You're kidding." It's annoying because it was based on a stereotype. Heaney says that 5-pin bowlers include architects, teachers, everybody, but predominantly, I guess, it's working class. A concession that has two corollaries. A, so what? And B, what it is, more than anything, is absolutely Canadian. Canada is the only place in the world where 5-pin is played. The international game is the American sport of 10 pins, where the targets fall like poplars in a hurricane, and any viewing audience is so silent you could hear a pin drop. In 5-pin, the noisier the better, says Lyons, who admits she gets pretty revved up during a team match. Lane bowling was invented stateside in 1895 with the 10-pin version. Through the American Bowling Congress expansion, it migrated north to Toronto in 1904, imported by the legendary Tommy Ryan. In 1909, Ryan had amended the rules to the uniquely Canadian game with just 5 pins. The kicker was that if you didn't knock down the right-hand corner, the toughest target for right-handed bowlers, none of the other pinfall counted a whit. Hence the term counterpin, which defined the 5-pin game until the late 1960s. Ryan was a real practical joker. That's why he put the counterpin in, Heaney explains. By the late 1960s, Eastern bowlers wanted to get rid of the counter, and Westerners wanted to retain it. A compromise was reached whereby the Western pinfall count, 5 for the head, 3 for the 2 sides, 2 for the corners, became standard, and the counterpin became history. Gassing the counter was one of the ways 5-pin officials hoped to widen the game's appeal. Automatic scoring machines helped, and so did bumper bowling for kids, where the gutters are filled with pads keeping the ball in play. 5-pin is holding its own, Heaney says, with about 150,000 league bowlers in Canada, 60,000 of those in Ontario alone. Its leading strongholds are Hamilton and Oshawa, the province's 2 biggest labor cities. 10-pin has about 125,000 league bowlers nationally. But the most phenomenal figure is 200,000, the number of kids who attend birthday parties at Ontario bowling alleys every year. Somehow, between this initial experience and the elite events like this weekend's Nationals, a large number of potential bowlers are lost. We can expect to see more aggressive marketing campaigns, largely based on the Canadian heritage of the game. Heaney has written a parody of the Molson "I Am a Canadian" ads, using the 5-pin game as a counterpoint to the 10-pin version. Among the lines, "My balls are smaller, but I'm not sensitive about it. and I don't have holes in my balls to rest my fingers. In other words, this game is accessible to the average person and very Canadian. I still think 5-pin is harder than 10-pin, Lyons notes. I just look at the law of averages. You can get a strike in 10-pin without hitting the head pin. There's no rubber around the pins, and they fall easily. And in comparable circumstances, there are more perfect games rolled in 10-pin, where 300 is the maximum score, than in 5-pin, 450 maximum. Despite its popularity among prepubescent birthday partiers and a surging interest among seniors, 5-pins remains among the subculture rather than the mainstream of sport. Bowling families tend to beget bowling families. Lyons has a son who plays for the Ontario Blue Jays rep baseball team and another in AA hockey. But her daughter, Victoria, 12, is a bowler just like her mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother before her. I love this game, the people in it, and the competitiveness, says Lyons, who bowls twice a week. And it's a cheap night out.